This video is sponsored by Bitsy Trunk, unique, stylish, and dazzling.
I'm Otiwaa. I'm an administrative assistant, and I'm a mommy to a lovely 6-month-old baby girl. I have just one baby for now. My boss on 1st June, which was a Saturday last year, 2019, I told my husband that we should hold on trying to have a baby because we had suffered a miscarriage in January, and it was so difficult. I mean, it was so, I was so anxious. I mean, it was very painful, and then no one to talk to. My husband was like, it's okay. I mean, they will go like, it's okay. And the baby didn't even form, so it's fine. And then I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I also resorted to the internet. And then most of the mummies who had miscarriages had other miscarriages. I mean, someone will have like 7 miscarriages. So it was very scary for me, even though it was a space I could relate to. It was very scary to me. So I told my husband that we should hold on in trying to have a baby in 1st June. And then he was like, okay, fine. I mean, it's you, whatever it is, it's fine. So on Monday, my head was aching. I was having a headache, and my boss said I was pregnant. I'm like, my boss said I was pregnant. I'm like, oh no, I don't think I'm pregnant. And then on Tuesday, I was still feeling the headache, and he said, I think you are pregnant, my boss. And then I said, no, I'm not pregnant. And then in the afternoon, I was going out with him and said, I suspect you are pregnant. So I went to the washroom and I'm like, oh God, please, may I not be pregnant? I hadn't seen my period, but it was normal. Since the miscarriage, my period was not regular. So I was like, God, please don't make me pregnant. And then one lady at work I wasn't close to had given me some donuts to eat. So then on my mind, hey, what if I'm pregnant and I'm taking this donut? What if I have a miscarriage? So I was just... So on that Tuesday, we went to, I bought the pregnancy test kit. And then I told my husband, said, okay, let's just check. So I went to check alone in the washroom, and then 2 lines. And then I told him that I'm pregnant. So that was after I had told him we were not having the baby. So I'm like, hey God, you have a great sense of humor. So I found out I was pregnant, and then I told him. And then he was very happy, surprisingly. I'm like, hey, you want now when I said we should wait, you are like, it's okay. I'm like, he's like, we've been married for 2 years. It's about time some baby started coming. So he was okay with it. I wasn't okay with it, and then I was very scared. I don't even know how to express it. I wasn't excited. I think I was more scared. A part of me wanted to be excited. I'm like, no, please hold on, not just yet. I mean, you know what happened the last time. So that's how I found out I was pregnant. My boss told me first. So my pregnancy was quite easy. Apart from the anxiety, for the first 20 weeks, it was just full of anxiety. I mean, just expecting that, okay, I'll just start bleeding and then lose the baby. And then with pregnancy, I mean, you have cramps here and there, and then discharges. Sometimes whenever I felt those things, I thought, okay, I'm losing the baby, because that's how miscarriage is like. It's like some very painful cramps. So sometimes I'll just go to the washroom, even without checking, I'll start crying, hey, am I losing the baby? And then I'll check and everything was intact. I remember the second time I went to see the doctor, and then we saw the ultrasound. I wasn't excited, and my doctor was like, you're not excited. I'm like, eh. He didn't understand why. Well, the first time I was having the ultrasound, and then I saw the baby. He was so like, oh, that's your baby then. I wasn't, no emotions at all. Because the first time I had ordered for things. I was pregnant for, I think, just 8 weeks old. But I had ordered for things, put things in my cart. Like, I was so excited. I'm like, oh God, this is my testimony baby and everything. So this time around, I didn't, no more. Let me just go through it. So for the first 20 weeks, I was just full of anxieties and then Googling so many like absurd things. But the first trimester, from the cravings, I think I was nauseous, but I was nauseous, yes, most of the time. I didn't go to the kitchen for 3 months, so it was just my husband helping me out with the food. And then, but I wasn't vomiting, yeah. But throughout my pregnancy, I'll say I was very active. Because I remember one time my boss was like, you've carried this pregnancy really well. So apart from the anxiety, I didn't have a very big bum. If you see the photos of the Friday before I delivered on Monday, it was like I was like 5 months pregnant. I didn't have a very big bum. And then my boss said I carried a pregnancy well, which is a compliment, because I didn't want anyone to, I just don't like being pitied anyway. Yes. And then one day I went for a wedding, and then one lady was like, hey, yummy mommy, you're looking so nice. I wish I was like this when I was pregnant. And she asked me how far along. I was like 27 weeks. And she was like, hey, no wonder now I'm hassle. I'm like, oh, okay, then my pregnancy is fine. Yes. So apart from some back aches and then the swollen feet. That's what and I put on my slippers and it got torn. So that's what it was, just swollen feet, a few back pains when I entered my 3rd trimester, and then just a little nausea here and there. But I'll say I was very, very active, and then my pregnancy was no complications. But my doctor, anytime I went to the hospital, I did an ultrasound, which I learned is not supposed to be. But because of my previous history, my doctor had me do the ultrasound all the time. So my pregnancy was, apart from the anxiety for the first 20 weeks, it was fine. Yeah, I think it was fine, yeah. So I went on my maternity leave on 21st January. And then I was in the house for 1 week, and then I was feeling bored, and I was asked to come for my check on Friday, 24th January. So I went to the office. I'll just be my whole bubbly self, and my boss was like, hey, you cry, it's like the baby's not coming now, so come back to work. So I told him, does he really want me to come back to, I asked him, does he really want me to come back to work? And he was like, oh no, he's joking, he's not ready to carry anyone to the hospital. I think the baby heard that I wanted to come back to work. I was like, okay, let me just make my entrance day. So on 24th, we're going home with my boss, and I started feeling cramps, like serious cramps. My boss's sons were in the car, and they were disturbing me. And then their father was like, hey, you want the baby to come out now? I don't know what the baby heard. The cramps became very serious when I was in the car. So we got to the house, and it was just on and off. I was manageable anyway. And then during my 3rd trimester, I relocated to the sofa because I wasn't sleeping. I never slept after when I entered my 3rd trimester. So that's where I was sleeping. I was just watching TV. And then the cramps became very serious. It became heavy. So I called my husband, and I told him that I'm having serious cramps. And then he just came to sit with me, and then I googled Braxton Hicks, because I thought it was Braxton Hicks. I don't know, for some reason I felt I was going to give birth after 40 weeks. And here I was, I think 37 weeks. So I didn't even expect, I wasn't thinking it was the baby coming. I was like, this is very painful. So he sat with me, massaged my back, and then it was on and off. So on the Saturday, that was 25th, it was like, that was when I was supposed to take my maternity photo shoot too, because my tummy was not big enough. So I wanted it to become bigger, and I couldn't because the pain was serious. I called the doctor, and the doctor made me call the midwife. The midwife said she was coming to the hospital, so I should come there. I'm like, there's no need. I told her I'll meet her there, but I didn't meet her there eventually. So it was still serious cramping and everything. On Sunday, it became very serious. So my husband and I went to the hospital. We didn't take the things. So we went to the hospital, and then the nurse checked. The almighty checking they never tell you about. She said she asked me if I had came with extra panty. I said no. So she's coming to check what the dilation is. And this lady, I think I started bleeding or something, because she insists. I'm like, Ajay, what is this? And she's like, I'm just a 1/4 centimeter dilated, so I should go home. And I told her I live at Dansoman, but then my hospital was at Nungwa. She said, okay, I should just, and I told her I had a friend at Teshi, so I'll just come and stay there. But I was like, I didn't take her seriously, because I called my midwife and I told her. She was like, oh, don't worry, come for your normal Tuesday appointment, because the baby is not coming now. So we went to the house, and my husband was like, let's finish buying the things, because I'm never ready. I hadn't packed fully. I was left with call sheets and a lot of things. So we bought some of the things on our way. I went home, and then I slept. And in the evening, I just couldn't. It was serious. Now I was like, okay, let me just do this checking thing they've been saying. So I was checking the duration of the contractions and then the intervals or something. And then it became consistent. So my friend was like, okay, when I go to the hospital, they'll ask me to come back home. So I should come and sleep in her house. But my husband said, this is my first baby, so let's just go to the hospital. Went to the hospital. They did the almighty check-in. Oh God, I cringe anytime I think about that check. Almighty checking again. And then the midwife was like, I'm 3 centimeters dilated. So I said, okay, then I'm going home. She said, oh no, I have to sleep here. The baby will come. I'm like, hey. So I packed my things. My husband didn't stay with me. I don't even know why he didn't stay with me. But my friend came over and she was with me. At that time, I'm sure the baby was like, okay, now we're at the hospital, so let's do this. And things escalated 1,000 times more there. The contractions and then the pain. I couldn't cry. I couldn't scream. Okay, I could scream. I was screaming. I couldn't sleep because they were saying I should lie on my left side, which is the most painful thing ever. Lying on your left side. And then so I was going through the nights, and the nights it didn't come quickly at all. I mean, it didn't come quickly. I could check the time, and we got there at 12. We got there at 12 a.m. into Monday, 12 a.m. into Monday, and then the night it didn't go fast. I checked the time again, it was 12:05. I'm like, hey, after all this pain I've endured. And then the time just didn't go, and then I was it was serious. So the nurse said after every 4 hours she come and check again. She come and check, and then just one. I'm like, hey, when are we going to go forward? So I started calculating. It'll be like another 3 years before I deliver if I should wait for 10 centimeters. It was painful. I was trying the breathing exercises they taught me. I tried massaging my back, but my friend was like, if I massage my back, the baby's eye or skin or something. So anytime I tried massaging my back, she would come and take my hands off. I got to a point, I'm like, no, don't worry. If she goes blind, we'll cure it. I'm like, hey, she won't let me massage my back in peace. And they'll come and check. Oh, for no crying being count. I'm like, hey, when are we going? And it was so painful. It was so painful. So in the morning, the nice nurse had left. Another nurse came with another. Well, she was much helpful. She took me to the labor ward, and then she allowed me to massage my waist or my back or whatever it was, and it was just so painful. Okay, so labor was long. I think it was long because it started from Friday, if that's counted as part of labor. Then it was too long. You understand? And then at a point, I was getting very tired. I told the nurse that my brain, and then she thought, hey, people are even wanting. I'm like, no, far from that. Like, I'm tired. I've been at this for so long. When I say I want to pee, you say no. When I say I want to poo, they say no. I'm just lying down, and then at this point, it's like, let the baby be out already. So I think, and it got to a time, anytime they come and check and I ask how many centimeters I dilated, they didn't want to tell me. And I said, why? Just let me know. I mean, cause time may call. And then they wanted me to eat. I said, no, I won't eat anything. They forced me to eat. I said, I want to see my husband. Is he around? I said, okay, I should eat. They'll call him. I said, please call my husband or let me go out. And then they did. At a point, I was walking around, but at a point, they just kept me inside the delivery room. And then I was lying on my left as usual, and then I realized, no, this is the time. I was calling the nurse, please, I'm fine. I have the urge to push. If you don't come, I'll just bring the baby out. So I should take my time. So they were now preparing the bed, laying sheets and everything. And I came to lie down, and then he said I should. What were they saying? I should push when the pain comes or something. And I started screaming with my mouth. He said, no, that's not how it is done. No, I should. Didn't I go for classes? And like me, I wasn't interested in what they were saying during the classes. They're like, okay, I should push from my waist. They came to hold my waist. I should push from my waist. So the first time I pushed, and then they were like, no, I should do it well because my baby was suffering. And then the second time she said that, then that's just something I still don't understand. She came to put a cloth on my face. And she was like, this is how my baby is feeling, so I should hurry up. And then I do the thing, I'm like, I'm trying. And then, I was trying my best. So I think that the third time, they're like, okay, you are doing well. So, relax. When you feel the pain. I think when I saw my doctor, I was doing better. He should have stayed, but he also left. I think it's not his duty to deliver or something. And then, I still wasn't, I think they were not happy with how I was pushing. I know I was doing my best. I was tired at this point. And then the nurse took the scissors. Without any information, my friend had told me that before you get the epi, they will numb the place. I didn't know if it wasn't true. The nurse just took the scissors saying, shoom! I'm like, I let out the loudest scream I've heard in my entire life. And then at that point, they brought the baby out. And I think the other midwife was like, what's her agenda? I wasn't even hearing her. I was like, oh, girl. And then they didn't put it on my chest. They put it on my tummy. And I was so tired to even have any emotions. I was like, she was so tiny. I was like, hey, they don't go mini. She was so tiny, and her head had become long. So I was like, hey, and she was fair. I'm dark. As dark as I am, my husband is darker than me. So you can imagine when I saw the fair baby. I think she took her weight and she said 2.5. I'm like, wow, that's so small, because that's just on the mark. She came to put the baby on me. It was like, okay, so they are stitching. The first time they are going to numb the place. But then for another one, they won't numb the place. I'm like, shall they just get ahead? Finish with what you are doing. And then they took the baby away. They hadn't finished with the stitches. They took the baby away. I was so tired and I was so disappointed because I had prayed to God to give me a supernatural childbirth. I was like, okay, so I'm going to give birth at 41 weeks. That's how I want it. 41 weeks. By the time I get to the hospital, they should tell me I'm 7 centimeters dilated. And then I should just push pop out and then just no tear, no cuts. But that wasn't it. And I was so disappointed. I think that's when my disappointment started. And see my baby, she was so slim. I was like, hey, she's so tiny, 2.5. That's not what I wanted. And then after everything, they were just wiping. I thought I had finished with all my blood. She just kept putting cotton in there, bringing it out. I'm like, hey, all this is going under me and coming out. Hey! Anyway, so they did everything and then they took me to my room. When I got to the room, my husband was there, my sister was there, my brother was there. They were all making phone calls, video calls, because my mom is not here. And then I didn't even hold the baby. I didn't care. I think at that point I was just too tired to even look at her face, and then I just lied down. So that was the labor day for me, Monday, 27th January. My baby wasn't sleeping, and then they asked me to breastfeed her. So I brought out I thought breast milk is normal, because when I was 25 weeks pregnant, I started leaking. So my mother was like, hey, so I brought the breast milk out, nothing was coming. I put it in her mouth, nothing was coming. Like, nothing was coming. And then the midwives were not around, no one was there to say anything. So in the evening, after everyone had left, I had her in the afternoon. After everyone had left, I wanted to try again. It was still not coming. And then the midwife came to go and bath her. They bathed her in the evening, I think after 6 hours of her birth. And I'm like, I was like, oh, ebeba. So ebeba. And then they went to bath the baby, came to put her down. Nothing was coming. No one said anything to me. I was so surprised, expecting it to come. In the morning, I tried to breastfeed her, nothing was coming. The doctor came in. The doctor said he wanted to see my breast, and he said, okay, I have inverted nipples. And then it wasn't even heavy. I have inverted nipples. And then he forcefully used his hand to bring the nipple out. Like, okay, now try it. Still, nothing was coming. I was becoming agitated. My doctor was angry with the nurses for not... the baby had been born since 3:55 and she hadn't eaten anything. So they made me give her formula. When we went home, still, nothing was coming. I was discharged the next day after delivery. On Wednesday, still, nothing was coming. I was so surprised. I was so angry because I had missed this exclusive breastfeeding thing, and it was not coming. On Thursday evening, that's when I saw that, okay, it has started coming, and then I put the baby to it, and it was the most painful thing because I had inverted nipples, so my nipples were not out, and it was so painful because she was sucking. It was painful. I think it's part of the reasons I was crying because it was just so painful, and then I was like, no, I can't do this thing. So I also wasn't breastfeeding, even though now the breast milk had come. I wasn't breastfeeding because of that, and then my breast became engorged, so it became hard, and there were veins on it, and they were so painful. I didn't know what to do. So my husband bought me a breast pump, and then we managed to express, and then they said I should use Inkuto. I used that to massage, and then with time, I started breastfeeding her. One night, I think after 2 weeks, I stopped giving her the formula, and after 2 weeks, we were still doing the breastfeeding, small was working, and one dawn I woke up to breastfeed her. Nothing came. Baby is crying, nothing is coming, no formula. In the middle of the night, just my husband and I. And then I also started crying. My husband said I shouldn't worry, he'll buy formula in the morning, but the baby was crying. So we just had to, my husband had to hold her. We didn't know what to do. It was just the two of us, around 2. We didn't know what to do. So in the morning, he bought formula. He was like, okay, this exclusive thing, it won't work for us, because if some days it will come for no reason, let's just keep the formula in the house. So yes, but after that day, I didn't experience that again. My breast milk comes, and I supplemented with the formula.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so when I came home, I had my baby on Monday, 27th, and then I came home on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, my mother-in-law came to help me. Prior to my having the baby, I didn't really have a relationship with her, so it was new territory for me. And I wasn't sleeping because the baby wasn't sleeping. I don't even know why. She just wasn't sleeping. And I was still in pain because I had the epi, so I was still in pain. And I was still healing. I was also having the breast milk issues. And then everything just annoyed me. My mother-in-law would come. I wasn't pleasant. I wasn't pleasant. In the evenings, it's just me and my husband with the baby, and he had to go to work. The baby would be crying. I didn't know why she was crying. I was just so angry. I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? There was a time I'm like, I should just drop this baby in the cot and then just cover her, and then I had just regretted having the baby. I was like, no, maybe I should have had the miscarriage again or something. So I was very sad, and I was always crying. And I'm someone who can hide my tears, but I couldn't hide my tears. One time my mother-in-law came. She was like, why am I crying? I said, it's nothing. She's like, is this something she has done? I said, no. Is this something my husband had done? I said, no. I was just crying. Like, she should just leave me. She didn't understand. She thought it was because of her, and she was also doing her best. So I was just not happy, and the disappointments were too much. My husband wasn't with me at that point. Those thoughts started coming and made me sadder. Like, my husband wasn't with me in the delivery room. I didn't have my maternity photo shoot. My friends told me that when I had the baby, they'll come to my room with balloons. They didn't come. My mother wasn't there. I was missing my mother. So the disappointments were too many. My baby is small. She's so tiny. I'm hurting. I can't sleep. This baby won't sleep for me to also sleep. But one time I screamed at her, and then I regretted immediately. But then I was like, you deserve it. Why won't you sleep for me to also sleep? Why must you come in? So I didn't want to accept that it was depression. So I took some tests on baby center, and then they said, okay, so I am depressed. So I'm like, okay. And my marriage was suffering because my husband, he'll come back from work, and then, I felt the baby had now become his priority. So I just will allow him to be with the baby. And so I just wasn't happy for a very long time after having the baby. And I was crying a lot. Okay, so I used Instagram a lot. And then it was at that point that I started discovering pages. I mean, I don't even know where they came from. And then I realized, okay, so postpartum depression was normal. People experienced this. So I wasn't the only one. So I was reading a lot on Instagram, following all these mom pages. And then I knew that, okay, so I'm not the only one. It's normal to have these things. And then I tried, so it was mainly online, trying to talk to, there was no one to talk to, because who are you going to tell you are depressed? They won't understand that you are depressed. And there was no one to talk to. Everybody expects me to be happy. But basically reading about it, associating with other moms who had also gone through it was what kept me, was what helped me. And then, I mean, I had anxiety too, because 2020 really didn't begin well for most people in Ghana. One lady died from malaria, and then my paranoia was through the roof. If you're entering my house, I don't even want to open the door, because I was scared of malaria. All of a sudden, I started thinking, okay, my baby was going to die, because the mosquitoes, I was just seeing mosquitoes no one was seeing. Okay, so my husband was like, hey, my mother-in-law was like, there are no mosquitoes here. But I was seeing the mosquitoes, and I was just becoming paranoid. So I was like, no, I have to relax. So I was just watching videos of other moms, and then reading about it. And with time, I think, with time, I just overcame it somehow. I don't know if I'm still not in it, but well, I still cry anyway. So, so let's say it's better. It's better. So after I had my baby, the second day, the doctor asked me to go for the BCG. So when we went, I said I begged them. I was begging them not to give her the injection, because I'm like, this tiny baby, look at this small 2.5 kilo baby. I come to inject her. She didn't cry. She didn't cry. That was the first immunization. And then the second one, I think after 6 weeks, we went for the second one. That was so heartbreaking. And it was painful for me, because I didn't have any support. My mother-in-law went with me, and she was worse. The public health nurse said I shouldn't come with her again, because she was just hysterical. No. I was like, why you had 4 children and 1 grandchild? I'm like, if you are doing this, what am I going to do? And the man was like, and then she had a fever the first day. And then I couldn't sleep, because the only place she wanted to be was in my arms. So I won't sleep after immunization. The second time, we missed it because at that time the COVID had been serious, and then I just didn't want to expose her to it. So we missed the second one, because we were like, I learned it was okay for you to go the next month. So we couldn't escape it the next month. So we went, and then I went with my husband. When it was time to give the injection, obviously he ran away. He said he was going to pick Uber. So it was just me to face my baby crying and everything. And after every immunization, she has serious fever, and we all can't sleep. I mean, you just have to calm her. And my baby is not a crier, so if she's crying, I mean, it was serious. So anytime we go for immunization, for the first 2 days, I don't sleep. And she sleeps on my laps throughout. And then I give her the paracetamol syrup to eat. So by the 3rd day, it becomes better. Okay, so my mother-in-law said the breast milk was no food, it was just water. So she was on my case till we introduced the formula to her. And then she was like, by 3 months, there was a man white cocoa. And I said, no, I want to do, at least if not exclusive, just formula and then breast milk. She was on my case. And that's what she gave to her children, and they are fine. Maybe my husband, he didn't even drink milk. He was only drinking the white cocoa. So just to get her off my back, I introduced my baby to cocoa when she was 4 months. She didn't like it. She didn't take it. The fancy in her would just not let her take white cocoa. So it didn't work, and we stopped with that. But with time, I think at 5 months, she said we can start giving her wheat, which we also tried, because sometimes I just let her have her way because she'll say she knows better, and that's what she did. So my baby started taking formula when she was 4.5 months, and then now she's 6 months. We are giving her fruits. I don't puree much. Like I gave her mango the other day. I just cut them in small pieces and give them to her because I learned baby-led weaning is better than puree. I think she prefers to chew. That's why I give her the food in bits instead of pureeing it. Yeah. So I mean, little by little, yeah, I get in there. Okay, so because of the COVID, I was given 5 months maternity leave with pay. Yeah. So on 1st July, I had to resume work full time without having to close early like I thought I would initially. And it hasn't been easy for me at all because I don't sleep. Even though my baby is doing better in the sleep department now, at least she wakes up like 3 times for me to change and feed her. But I still am not able to sleep. I've not slept 4 hours straight since my 3rd trimester. So I just don't sleep, and I'm usually very tired. Because my mother-in-law is not live-in, she doesn't live with us. She comes in the mornings and goes in the evenings. I have to wake up early, prepare her food. I think I'm too new. My mother-in-law doesn't measure formula, and I want it to be measured. So I prepare the formula down for her, and I express some for her. But those ones, they get finished like, as she said, there's water, so it gets finished like in 2 hours. And then I go to work from 6:30. Sometimes I leave the house at 7. Sometimes I leave the house without seeing her, and it's very emotional for me. And then I'll stay at work and I'll close at 5. And then I'll get to the house sometimes 7:30. I'll see her for at most 1 hour, and then she'll go back to sleep. And it's so painful. Sometimes I feel like resigning, but it's not the best option for us. So I still go to work, and I'm not on my game at work. So sometimes my boss complains, and then one time he tried to compare me, and that was very painful. I just broke down and then I started crying because you can't compare 2 mothers. We are 2 different mothers. She might have a nanny, her baby might be different, she might be different. I'm a new mom, I don't have a nanny, I don't have a living help, so you can't like compare the 2. And my eyes are always red. My eyes are just always red nowadays, and I look very tired when I get to work. And then the complaints are getting to me. Sometimes I can just doze off. So I'm still learning to adjust. I've not gotten a grip of it yet because it's just in July I resume, so I'm still learning. Okay, my biggest support will be my husband. Yeah, because he does all the mother care rounds. He knows all the mother cares in Accra. He's even part of a mommy and me group, and then so he's my greatest support. Even when I gave birth, because I was depressed, I didn't see how helpful he was, but he was very helpful. He would go to work the next day, but he would stay with me at night. Sometimes he would ask me to sleep, and then he would take care of the baby. And even sometimes when his mom came, his mom would complain that, at least I don't have to go to work, so I need to stay up with the baby and he needs to sleep. But he didn't see it that way. He was okay. So he has been my greatest support. And then later when I started understanding the depression, I explained it to him, and then he also understood that, okay, yeah. So he's been my greatest support because it's mainly the 2 of us. Yes, and my mother-in-law has also been very helpful because my mom is not here, so it's just her. I appreciate her input in my daughter's life. I appreciate her coming over very early in the morning and leaving very late. She has left her business to come and take care of my baby, and I don't take it for granted. And while I don't have so many friends coming over because of the COVID, so I don't have that as well. So basically it's just the 2 of them. Yeah, they are my greatest support. Okay, one of the things that made motherhood not very enjoyable for me was that some of the things that my mother-in-law, not even just her, but other people were asking me to do for my baby, I didn't want to do. Do you understand? So they wanted to massage the baby's scalp. I said head. They wanted to shape her head. I said no, I didn't want to do that. It wasn't. They didn't take it very lightly. They were like I was being too no. You understand? And then they wanted her to wear beads. I said I didn't want my baby to wear beads. They're like, okay, if I don't let her wear beads on her neck won't be straight. If I don't let her wear beads on her waist, she'll be shapeless. If I don't let her wear beads on her legs, she won't walk early. Like some of these things were just getting to me. I'm like, okay, you did it. It worked for you. Fine, but I mean, that's not how I wanted to do it. And then it broke my heart because I couldn't speak up a lot. It's like, that's how she also understands it to be done. So that's how she wanted to do it, but that's not how I wanted to do it. That's not how I want to do it. And I can't say anything about it. I was very silent about these things. And it's very, like, it hurts me that I allowed some things to just go by. I didn't say anything. So I'm like, well, it's your baby. They are helping you and everything. But if there's something you don't want, maybe you should have a say. Because once in a while, when I have a flashback of how they were pouring hot water in my baby's privates, I'm like, no, I shouldn't have allowed this, because what did that achieve? I don't know what is achieved. So I wish I had spoken more. Even though she's helping me, I needed to find a nice way to let her know that, no, this is not for me, and this is not how I wanted it. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, she's my baby, and it should be how I want it. It's done. Yeah. The most rewarding part, I'm taking care of this beautiful girl. I mean, my baby is very beautiful. Sometimes I wonder where she came from, because she's so different. I don't even know who she looks like, but she's really beautiful. And then it's very nice to know that I'm taking care of this human being. I mean, I did this. It's very rewarding. I think so far that's the greatest achievement I've had, because I did the 6 months. We are still here. We are still alive. Nothing has happened to us. I mean, seeing her is a blessing. And then now, anytime I get to the house, I don't know whether she's singing for me, but maybe I'll just take it as a song. She's just so excited to see me, and she doesn't want to lose sight of me. When I get to work, I'm not allowed to touch her till I have taken my bath. So that few minutes I enter the bathroom, you hear her crying, like, I need you, I need you. So for someone to need you this much, it's just so rewarding. When I get home and then I just hold her, it's just out of this world. I just love that feeling to get back home and then see my daughter, and then she's just happy to see me. Yeah, so that's the most rewarding so far.
This video was brought to you by Bitsy Trunk. Unique, stylish, and dazzling.